Welcome everybody to the Practicum orientation on professionalism. So once you've been notified of your Practicum placement by Leonie Sherwin, who's our field experience manager, please contact your Practicum supervisor promptly. Leonie should have provided you with his or her contact information. If not, get in touch with Leonie and she will get you that information. Her contact information is listed here on the screen. Make sure that you introduce yourself and offer to visit the site to meet the supervisor and discuss scheduling arrangements for your upcoming practicum. And be sure that you ask the supervisor if there's any information you should bring with you to the meeting. This might include your portable background check, your TB test, your food handler's card, maybe your driver's license. When you get to the meeting with the Practicum supervisor, be sure that you arrive on time or maybe even a little bit early. You want to make a good first impression. Dress as you would for a job interview. Bring your resume. It's not a requirement, but it will definitely demonstrate your professionalism and that you are taking your Practicum seriously. Present the Practicum letter and placement or acceptance form to your supervisor and ask about the professional expectations at the early learning site. Ask about attendance, the dress code, the professional language used in that setting, cell phone usage. It is best practice to put your cell phone away and not have it out when children are present. And then mandatory reporting. So professional expectations. So each learning site is unique in its professionalism. And you will learn when you meet with your Practicum supervisor what exactly is expected. Unless you're told otherwise, plan on following the basic professionalism expectations presented in the next 4 slides. Attendance. So you need to arrive on time. This is not negotiable. Even though you are a volunteer, you need to be on time. You need to stay throughout the entire time frame agreed upon. You can't be there for 20 minutes and say, oops, I gotta go, unless there's truly an emergency and you need to leave. Excuse me. Please make sure that you pre-arrange any absences or changes to your schedule in person with your supervisor. If you have an unexpected absence or will be tardy, you need to call as soon as possible to let them know your situation and when you expect to arrive. You'll also need to call Pierce College, your course instructor, with the same information, or leave an email with them to let them know that you were absent, and check in with your supervisor upon your return. This is like a job. You wouldn't just not show up for work. You would call in and let your supervisor know so that other arrangements could be made. And your professional dress expectations. Now remember, you're going into an early learning center where there's going to be paint and Play-Doh and mud. So you aren't going to want to wear your professional interview clothes, but you want to dress in clean clothes that are odor-free. Just because there are many children and staff that have asthma and sensitive to smoke, perfumes, and other odors. And check with the classroom teacher about this. Strong scents really should be avoided. Your clothing should be neat and appropriate, so casual pants and shirts, no sweats or t-shirts, no holes or rips in clothing, and your pants should be worn high enough not to expose the body when you squat down, and necklines should be worn high enough not to expose the body when you bend over or lean forward. You should be covered and comfortable. And think about if you're going to wear something that has screen print, is it appropriate for children to see? You probably don't want to wear your It t-shirt with Pennywise the clown to an early learning center. It would be frightening for children and very unprofessional. Likewise, you don't want to wear your yoga pants that say sassy on the rear, also inappropriate for young children. So be thoughtful about what you wear. And then professional language expectations. Children are really good at listening and repeating, and so consider whether you would want children to repeat whatever they hear you say to their family at home. And so you should be conscious of your words with children, and you should be using kind, respectful language and language that promotes children's development. In an early learning center, adults are usually referred to by adding Mr. or Miss in front of their first name. For example, I would be Miss Lisa, Miss Leonie, or Miss Chrissy. In elementary schools, adults are usually referred to by adding Mr., Miss, or Mrs. in front of their last name. Your cell phones need to be put away when you're in the classroom. If you have a reason to have your phone on you, like you're waiting for a phone call or your child was sick that morning and you may need to go get them, you need to let somebody know that, hey, I've got my phone. I may need to look at it. Otherwise, it should be put away and kept away for the day. If you're using your cell phone in the classroom as a timer to play music, make sure that you get permission from your supervisor first, secure approval from your practicum supervisor, and sign release forms from parents before taking pictures in the classroom. You can't just use your phone to take pictures of children whenever you would like. You need to have permission and a purpose. Mandatory reporting expectations. This has to do with if you suspect abuse or neglect. If you hear or see anything concerning a child that you consider inappropriate or unsafe, you need to report it to your practicum supervisor immediately. When in doubt, always report. I've always told teachers that it is not our job to investigate. That's the job of CPS. But it is our job to report if we suspect abuse or neglect. However, as a volunteer, you need to make sure that you are following the reporting procedures for your site. You need to ask the practicum supervisor what those procedures are. Some early learning sites or elementary schools ask that you report the information to the counselor or principal and call child services, or they will call child services. And some early learning sites or elementary schools will ask you to report the information to child services directly while they support you through the process. Most importantly, when you're having that first meeting with the practicum supervisor, ask for a copy of their reporting procedure. And other professional expectations. Smoking is typically not allowed on early learning sites or elementary school grounds. If you need to smoke before or after class, it would be inappropriate to ask for an additional smoke break. If you smoke before coming to class, you need to wash your hands. You need to wash your hands upon entering the classroom anyway, but make sure you wash your hands really well to get the smell off. Excuse me. And confidentiality should be a priority at all times. If you need to speak with your supervisor about a student or child, make sure that it is done in private. The staff room is not an appropriate place for discussions about children. Information about a child should be shared with other staff members on a need-to-know basis only, and always check with your supervisor first. Please don't share information about children outside of your practicum placement. If you have any questions or general questions, you can contact Leonie Sherwin about your practicum placement. Again, her information is listed here on the screen. For questions about assignments, tracking hours, or supervisor evaluations, contact your Pierce College course instructor through Canvas. For specific questions about site expectations, schedule arrangements, or children at the site, contact your practicum supervisor. And most importantly, have a great time. This practicum experience should be enjoyable and rewarding.